Hey guys, today I want to do a video replacing the front and rear differential in my Kyosho. Right now they're both front and rear are open differentials. It just comes stock with these Kyoshos. And I have a front one-way and a solid rear differential. But what I want to do first is just get a test to see what the difference is going to look like. So this is just stock. The only thing that isn't stock on this car are the rims, the decals that I put on, and this motor cover. But other than that, everything else is straight out of the box, so it should perform just like anyone else who might have the same model right out of the box. And I just hit it with this Specialist WD-40 silicone, and this works really well. I mean, it definitely handles really well, but this fresh coat is a little bit slick, but it's honestly how I like it. I like going a little bit slower with these Kyoshos and being able to take my time and get a little more sideways, you know? They don't have the best steering angle, so that's kind of a hack, I guess, around it. Make it the track just a little bit more slippery. But yeah, so next up I'm going to be replacing the front and rear differential. I believe this one is the front. The front one way, doesn't go backwards, just goes one way. This is your solid rear. I'll have the links to these down in the description. Batteries out. This is really important. If you're going to do this, make sure you remove your batteries from your electronics. There's 6 screws holding this top plate on here, and we're going to take those off, so I'm going to do that real quick. Sometimes this little yellow thing can get in the way. If you're gonna move it out of the way to get this screw, just be very careful, because if you move this too many times back and forth, I have a feeling that could break off pretty easily, so just be mindful of that. So now that I have these 6 screws loosened up, when I take this off, these wheels are gonna be loose, and there's gonna be springs attached to them, so be wary of that as well. As soon as this comes off, you'll see some people take the tires off when they do this, the rims and the tires off when they do this. You can do that if you want. I'm just not going to do that because it's not necessary just for the drive shafts, and I accidentally stripped my rear my rear lock nuts on there trying to mess with the rims last time, so I'm gonna leave those on there the way that they are if I can. So that piece comes off just like that. The screws are still even in there. I'm just going to set that to the side, and you can see one of the wheels and the hubs actually already started to come off, so I'm going to remove that. As you can see, there's a spring right there in the hub. This little part sits inside of the I think it's the drive shaft, I don't know what you call it, but so this spring just comes off, so be careful. What I do is I gently take them off, and then they'll set upright just like this. So I kind of just set them like that to make sure that everything stays where it should be. That's what the old one looks like. And you're gonna need your bearings for the new one as well. So the new bearings, or the old bearings, are on the new differential now. Now we're just gonna set this in. The thick side, you want to go this way. Yep. Kind of just sits in there. A little bit of hair. Yep, that's what we want right there. Now it's just a matter of reversing the process to put everything back on. I mean, it really is that easy. That's pretty much it for the rear. I'm just gonna put everything. Oh, look at that. See, that's why I gotta be careful. Also, why I'm doing this on the ground and not on a table. I've lost one too many parts. Now this part can be tedious. There's a few parts that are tedious, and this is one of them, because there's a certain way that this joint has to go in here, and at the same time it's got to sit in the grooves on the bottom. Alright, so that little groove there holds that, and then your two bottom pins set in the slots there. Same thing with the other side. Like I said, I know this can be a real pain trying to do both these and hold it up at the same time. It's possible though. Okay, finally. Alright, I got it in there. Now, put the cover back on. And that's exactly what we're going for here. Just snug enough. You don't want to strip the screws or anything. Now, yep. Seems to be going good. That's what we want. Now on to the front end. So the front end is actually starts a little differently. What you want to do with this front end, if I remember correctly, is take these. There's two longer screws that hold the steering rack into place. So you want to undo these two guys first. And once those two screws are out, you can take the tires off, and they'll have that dangly bracket, so it can get a little confusing. But same thing as the first time, you can kind of just take it off and set it off in the same position, just off to the side. And don't forget too, you got your front springs here, both of them right here. So as soon as that comes off, you're going to want to make sure to keep those safe. I'm going to put it on the same side as that wheel. Do the same thing over here. Okay, so now that now we have all that off, you're gonna have 4 screws here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are the only 4 holding this plate on here. So I'm gonna do that, and then we'll put in the front one-way differential. So I wasn't aware of it, but my phone died in the middle of doing the front end, but the front end is in. So basically, you take out those 4 screws, which I was showing you. Take off this cover. You'll see the differential. You take off the bearings, just like the rear end, and you put them on. The new one, pop it in the same direction. Make sure that the fat end is facing that way. I don't know which way it would be for you, but that way. And now I'm just putting the screws back in. So just gonna do that now. Finish putting these 4 back on. Okay, the 4 screws are back in place. Now we can move to the tires. This is going to be the hard part with the springs and everything, but we'll see what we can do here. Oh. This kind of twists around. It's a little confusing, but you want it to be facing kind of like like that. I kind of have it set in there. So before I swing this all the way around, I'm going to put the screw. I'm going to put the spring in here. Feed this back. Same thing with this. You don't want it to be overly tight. You still want some movement in the spring. And now on the other side, same thing. Put the spring in first. Notice it actually helps. Like if you can get one of the bottom pegs in and put this to the side up top. If you try to put it on with this forward and the spring doesn't sit right on here, it's a pain to try to go back and fix. So it's best to just set this off onto the plate here, this cover, and then get the pegs in. As soon as the pegs are getting there? Yep. Perfect. Everything will just kind of set into place. The last screw. Not too tight, not too loose. Let's test that out. Oh, yeah, so we got a problem with the spring there. Spring is crooked. Okay, so it looks like that spring is back in there nice and snug, how it's supposed to be. I'm just gonna finish doing this. I ended up having to take this whole top piece off again to get that spring on. Because once it's on, once this is screwed in, it's really hard to get that spring into place. So it's best to try to get it right the first time, like I did not do. All right. Now let's test this again. Now we're in working order. Perfect. Rolling how we want it to. Yep, only forward. Solid rear, perfect. Alright, now we're gonna go test it out. I did hit the track a minute ago with this stuff, WD-40 Specialist Silicone. It's great. This stuff works really well. Highly recommend it. Just so we have a similar comparison to the beginning with the stock. Yeah, let's get into it. Let's just see how she wears. Whoop, spun out. Well, the first thing I'm noticing, actually, it handles very similar to stock. Very, very similar. First thing I'm noticing, actually, isn't the way that it drives, but the way that it brakes. I don't know if you caught that there, but right around this corner right here, I just tapped the brake, and the way it whips around is way, way different than stock. Way better. It's a little bit more sensitive, but it grips up just the way you want it to around a corner like that if you're coming in too hot. I really like that so far. The way, as far as driving, I don't know if I noticed too much of a difference. I'm gonna do a couple more laps just to see, but so far it really feels similar. It feels almost identical, to be honest with you. Yep, those brakes definitely work. Yeah, I don't know. For being like $50+ for both of these together, I don't know how much I'd be able to recommend it, just because of how similar it is to stock. I mean, it's not like it's making a huge difference on the driving. There's actually some parts where it almost seems like it's having a harder time getting sideways, and I'm having to use the brake more, which is not great for these tiny little cars because they come to almost a dead stop even with just a little bit of brake. But I mean, it obviously drifts, and it's working. How much better than stock is the question, I guess, and I don't really notice enough of a difference to say that dropping $50 on it is worth it. But if you want to have the realism factor of the solid rear end and front one way, and you have the extra money to spend on it, I'd say go for it, because it doesn't make it worse. It doesn't make it worse. So yeah, because right there, it would have been nice to be able to get that sideways right there with the amount of throttle that I had. I feel like it would have done that with the stock, but I can't say for sure. There's a couple corners here I've taken that I've wondered why it hasn't gone sideways the way that I feel like it would have stopped. Like right there's one of them. I kind of have to slow down and give it a little bit of torque to get the car to actually go sideways. yeah, the braking really makes a big difference in a good way. If you can get used to how sensitive that is, I can see that being very useful. Like I said, it does bring the car almost to a complete stop though when you do it, so use wisely, probably around like hairpin type corners. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much going to conclude the review. There's not much more I can really say. I can show you, but as far as the way that it feels very similar. It feels very similar. Similar enough to where if it's something you feel like you want to do for the $50, go for it, I'd say. But is it necessary? No, I don't think it's necessary at all. I don't think it makes enough of a difference to drop 50 bucks. Because everything I'm doing right now, I was doing stock. You could see in the comparison video in the beginning. But yeah, I guess stay tuned for more. I'm gonna have a bunch more reviews of different kinds of cars and different kinds of tracks and whatnot. So yeah, if you like the videos and you find them helpful, subscribing would greatly help me out. I appreciate it.